Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on Reimagining a STEM research culture. As most of you may know, this project was funded by the University of Warwick due to the effort and leadership of Dr. Riya Kimura, who is a professor of engineering at the university and vice president conferences of INWES. Funding for this project was allowed us to gather some of the most experienced women in STEM field across our Asia Pacific network. To talk to you today about the status of STEM research and innovation in the region, some of the barriers they encountered along the way, and actions that help provide opportunity for equitable and inclusive presentations of women in STEM research over the last 20 years. As you listen to the talks, please make a note of how your own country compares and if some of the approaches might be useful. Also, you can ask them about their experiences during the questions and answer section at the end of this webinar. Okay, with that in mind, I would like to introduce the president of the INWES, Dr. Jung-San Kim, who will tell us a bit more about this research project. Professor Jung-San Kim is the current president of the INWES, and she is the executive vice president of Bangseo University since 2019. And has held various leadership positions in academic, government, committees, and non-governmental organizations. She has a PhD in medical chemistry and published over 15 papers in internationally peer-reviewed journals. Her current work focuses on academic administrations, policy research on women in STEM, including international collaborative through among Asia Pacific Nation Network's members on gender barrier in STEM, which was led by the Association of Korean Women Scientists and Engineers. In 2019, she was conferred the Order of Science and Technology by the Korean government. Okay, then Professor Jung-San Kim.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction, Professor Aryan Buller-Purvi. I would like to now share my slide. Can you see my slide okay?
Yes.
So good morning, good afternoon, and I don't think there's any good evening among our audience today, but I think there will be some more joining from the other regions of the world as well. I am Jung-San Kim. I'm the current president of INWES, and on behalf of the board of directors of INWES, I would like to express my most sincere greetings to members of the APNN, and also to our speakers and participants of today's webinar. I'd like to thank Professor Aryan Buller-Purvi, chair of the APNN, for organizing this webinar. Also to Professor Kin Sandar Chun, Professor Batsengel Batar, and Ms. Shunlian Sung, who are board members of INWES, and also to Bold Enkbold and the wonderful IT team for making this possible. Special thanks to our Vice President Conferences, Professor Georgia Kremida, for obtaining funding for a series of webinars, including today's dialogue from the University of Warwick. Thank you to Jenny, Dr. Jenny Spina and Ms. Stephanie Kona for managing the project. And a big thank you to our distinguished speakers, Professor Wei-Yi Leong, Professor Seema Singh, and Ms. Riya Kimura. I would like to just give you a very brief introduction of INWES for anyone who is new to INWES. We are a global organization of women in STEM with organizational members, corporate members, university members, and individual members, all together representing about 250,000 women from over 40 countries worldwide. Our mission is to build a better future worldwide through full and effective participation of women and girls in all aspects of STEM. This year, INWES celebrates its 20th birthday. It was in the year 2002 that the establishment of INWES was approved by the delegates at ICWES 12 in Canada as a formal organization to oversee the ICWES conferences. Since then, INWES has expanded the global network, established regional networks, and have initiated various projects that would bring us closer to fulfilling our mission. Just briefly about ICWES, it's the flagship event that INWES oversees. It's held every 3 to 4 years since 1964. This first ICWES was held in New York in 1964, hosted by the Society of Women Engineers. And there has been altogether, let's see how many, we had ICWES 6, ICWES 11, ICWES 13, ICWES 15, and ICWES 17 held in the APNN regions. The most recent one was held last year, ICWES 18, virtually. That was the first virtual ICWES of INWES, and was hosted by the University of Warwick in the UK. Our next upcoming ICWES will be next year, 2023. It will be in hybrid format in New Zealand, hosted by AWIS and Engineering New Zealand. This is a map that shows you all the conferences that has been held. The red ones are the ones that were held before INWES was established. The blue ones are the ICWESs that were held after INWES was established, and the green ones are also regional conferences that are held when we do not have the ICWESs. And you will see that we have quite a lot held in the Asia Pacific region, and you see the one in yellow, which will be held next year. This is the list of the countries that are represented by INWES. And APNN, being the first regional network, has these countries, and you will see the flags of your country. If you don't see the flag of your country, then I think it's a good time for you to start to consider joining INWES and APNN. I went through the archives of INWES, and I have found some valuable photos and some reminders of what our senior women scientists and engineers have done in the past. ICWES 6 was held in Bombay in 1981, and you will see here the picture of the Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi, attending ICWES 6. This is ICWES 11, which was held in Chiba, Japan. And you see here the welcome address of the then, I think, president of the chair of ICWES 11, and also Sue Bird, who was who served as president of INWES, who represented INWES at that time. This was ICWES 13, which was held in Seoul, Korea in 2003. Oh, sorry, this is 2005, wrong year. I will make a correction. This was held in 2005 in Seoul, and it was one of the biggest ICWES conferences held in since INWES was established. ICWES 15 was held in 2011 in Australia. Some of the photos, some of you may be reminded of the very good time that we had in Adelaide, especially for APNN. This was a very important conference. ICWES 17 in 2017 in India, in New Delhi. And I know many of you were at this meeting. And our upcoming one will be next year, September 3 to 6, 2023 in New Zealand. Hope to see all of you there. The objectives of INWES are outlined in this slide, and we are mainly an organization that would like to become an influential voice in STEM issues for the benefits of women in society. This is the INWES projects that are planned for this year, 2022, and I've highlighted the conferences that we are planning, which includes this one that we are attending right now, as an important event or important events that are planned for INWES this year. There will be webinars, or we already have started webinars since March, and we will be having about 10 webinars throughout July. And the last webinar will be held July 20th. So please mark your calendars for this very important day when we will be having the concluding webinar together with the celebration of the 20th anniversary of INWES. The project that we are attending right now is funded by the University of Warwick, and it's entitled Reimagining a STEM Research Culture, Lessons Learned from 20 Years of Evolution for Inclusive Representation in Science and Engineering. The focus of the project is on improving access to and participation of women and those belonging to underrepresented groups in STEM research. We hope to show how diverse and inclusion in STEM would benefit society as a whole, thus contributing to a culture that supports the development of strong identities and academic mindsets to underrepresented groups in STEM research is the focus of the project. We hope to extrapolate, analyze and discuss policies, initiatives, projects, and interventions delivered across the world in the last 20 years. And this is since the establishment of INWES in 2002 in academic and STEM academia and industry. So science and engineering together with gender equality are vital agendas for a sustainable world. And only through full participation of women and girls in science can we achieve a better future for all. I look forward to meeting you in person in our next events, especially there are still many webinars planned ahead. So please look out for the programs in our website. And thank you once again for your passion and endeavor to building an inclusive environment for science and engineering. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the webinar.
Thank you very much, Professor Johnson Kim, for your introduction of INWES and introduction of the project. Next, we have Dr. Y.E.L. Young. I will share her introduction. Yeah. Then Dr. Y.E.L. Young received her PhD in electrical engineering from the University of Queensland in Brisbane in Australia in 2005. Dr. Y.E.L. Young is the director of the research excellence at the Bordeaux University. Then Dr. Y.E.L. Young is currently the immediate past chairperson of the Institution of Engineering and Technology, Malaysia Local Network. The Vice President of the Institution of Engineering Malaysia and Vice President of the International Network of Women Engineers and Scientists and Committee Member of World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Women in Engineering Committee. She specializes in medical, signal processing, and telecommunication research. She has been researching on IR 4.0 and wireless sensor network and ultra wideband and wireless communications, and on brain signal processing for signal condition and classifications in various EEG-based mental tasks. Okay, the floor is yours, Dr. Y.E.L. Young.
Thank you. I would like to share my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Y.E.L. Young from Malaysia. I would like to share with you a very interesting topic on the MIRA, Performance Indicators for the Advancement and evolutions of Malaysian STEM research, a more inclusive approach. So ladies and gentlemen, we look at the Malaysia situation, there is an increase in graduate enrollment. And for women, ladies, basically we have more and more postgrad registrations. And we can see a lot of ladies candidates take up the enrollment, and ladies, they join a PhD program, and they also excel in their undergrad achievement in terms of STEM, science, technology, engineering. So we also see a lot of expansion of non-traditional students. Previously, our research is on pure research based for master and postgrad study. Now we have PhD and master for industry, also PhD and master for coursework study. So we can see that there's an increase of the globalization and influence of technology. And also the academics professions, we can see different change of roles for lecturers, teachers, and staff. And also we our higher educations, we provide some so-called funds to cater for the postgrad study. And governments also need to have to adopt a very mobile and flexible university model. Okay, we look at some issue that we need to take care of in terms of political, technological, economy, and changing environment, especially we are into globalizations. So we have to be careful on the dropout rate from the postgrad study. So we look at some countries, they have maybe more than 40 to 50% of attrition rate. So we have to monitor the student carefully. And we need to come up with a strategy to keep the student in university. And there's some program that we need to retain a lot of talented undergraduates as well. Because some of the students mentioned that PhD study, master study will take up a lot of times, and we need to come up with very open-ended nature of doctorate research. So the pathway should be clearer, and we realize also the international student, they complete faster than the local student. So this is the scenario in Malaysia. We look at this statistic for the past 20 years, from 2022 to 2013. So in terms of industry PhD, pure research PhD, or coursework PhD, industry master study, pure research master study, and coursework master study. We can look at the whole statistic that a lot of students still opt for pure research study. So there are also industry PhD, industry master taking up slowly, and coursework also start introducing to the student as well. So these are the scenario and statistic for the last 20 years in Malaysia. And we also look at here, these are all the output we have seen. You can look at the statistics showing that in terms of different university, we have University Malaya, University Science Malaysia, UKM, UPM, UTM, and UUM. So these are the 6 very renowned government university. We can look at in terms of university, the output is sustained. Whereas UUM, I think because of the locations, facilities, and many others, they need some strategy to enhance the output. Although nowadays we have a lot of students taking up PhD student, the quality, the output, we need to enhance and to be maintained as well. There are some issues and challenges we can see that in terms of quality and quantity, of course, we have a lot of students taking up postgrad study, a lot. But in terms of quality, we need to maintain. So for quantity-wise, we can see that there's a flexible intakes and enhance the enrollment of student, and accessibility also enhanced. We can see that we can project that from 2014, roughly 12 PhD graduates, and we can foresee that 2023 we can see up to 60,000 PhD holders coming up. So in terms of quality and quantity, these are the things we need to balance out. In terms of quality, the quality of research, training, supervision, social skill industry relevance output, this is what we need to be careful on. And we also, in Malaysia, we have this stakeholders requirement. That means from industry partners, alumni, or other industry panel, they need to feedback on the quality. And we also have the Malaysia Quality Agency to do the accreditations. Malaysia University also need to go for the ranking and rating as well. Another thing we need to take care of is the financial sustainability. So student needs finance support, and the return of investment, the student management, and the response to changes by the university also need to be taken care of. So these are the issues and challenges we are looking at and we are facing, we are trying to resolve at the moment. You can look at here, these are the concerns for Malaysia is the challenges, quality of training, how we train the student, education, examination, quality of research, the whole environment supervision, and the output. So the graduate need to be well prepared for the globalization. Another thing is the employability. Every semester we have so many graduates, PhD master holder, are they going to get a job? And these are the things that we need to think of. So in terms of challenges in Malaysia, we have the some of the R&D output, then the university ranking, industry languages, financial sustainability, retentions, access to higher educations, the graduate mobility, and their communication skill. So these are the concerns and the issue. Okay, challenge. How Malaysia measure the research performance and compare the capacity building and continuous improvement using a transparent measurement tools. We need a tools to measure. We need a method to monitor, and we need a strategy to enhance the research capability. So we have this MIRA, Malaysia Research Assessment. So maximum is 6 star. You can see the 6 star here. This is the digital sensitive measurement tool launched in 2004, and is for a public university and tertiary institution with university status at the time. Now we also invite private university to go for this assessment, because we need to see their research output and progress. So maximum is 6 stars, 6 level, and this is to measure the research and development culture in the local and private university in Malaysia. And we also see that in other countries, for Australia, we have RQF to ERA, UK, we have the REF, and we also have the global ranking in terms of QS and times and so on. So there are many ranking rating measurement in the world. For Malaysia, we are using MIRA. So this is in the Malay language, is saying that we are trying to establish the ranking since 2003. And we start with local university, and then slowly we promote and we develop to private university. It has been a very, it also has been discussed in the cabinet parliament and has been approved. So start with so-called 4 local university, and slowly we proceed to private university assessment. So this is the MIRA, Malaysia Assessment, Research Assessment. So basically we have 6 star, and we have 2 categories. One is for private, one is for local. Basically, we try to measure the quality, quantity of researcher, and then research, postgrad study, innovations, services, networking, and the support facility. So you can look at, after the assessment, you can have this certificate. If the university ranking or so-called assessment is 4 stars, so this is the certificate to be given to the university. And so you look at this criteria, what we are trying to measure, especially we need to measure the quantity, the number, and the quality of the researcher. So and then we try to look at the research output in terms of publications, grants, supervisions, sponsorship. We also look at the innovation, any new patent, IP, copyright. And other than that, we look at section F, we look at the sponsorship, professional services, consultancy, or any gift given by the industry. And section G, we look at the networking, the memorandum of understanding agreement have been signed, the collaboration with national and international university. The last section H is on the accreditation of the lab policy, ISO, library services. So these are the various categories we try to measure the quality of research in the university. Okay, basically it's based on the individual measurement. That means every staff, every researcher, and then we have the combined and we have the institutional worldwide assessment as well. We can look at here, we are looking at the supervision, quality of supervision, your publication citation, how many cohorts you have, the training you provide, the supervision, any awards, international award, national award you receive, any innovation, patent, copyrights, networking, MOU, collaborations, community services with outsider. Income means any sponsorship you received, your public networking, income, publication, and grants. So these are the important elements we are looking at. And for publication, we are also look at the high impact, like Scoopers, Web of Science, conferences, book chapter. And we also look at the policy papers, publication in newspaper, and consultancy report. So these are the data that we are collecting from the university. And we also look for the intellectual property courses, training, consultancy, lab services, endowment funds, and postgrad fees that we receive. So these are the various criteria we need to emphasize for the research as well. So you can look at after the implementations of this MIRA, Malaysia research assessment, publication from 1996 to 2020, you can see a very huge increment. We try to compare with Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Pakistan, Howard. You can see that a very huge number has been increased and enhanced after implementing this assessment. Okay, this is the QS World University Ranking 2016-2017. So previously, these are the humble ranking by the 9 university. Then slowly, because of the enforcement of the assessment and the rating, we keep on increasing. Hopefully, now we are in so-called some university they are in top 100. We should proceed to the top 50 in the world ranking. And slowly, we are encouraging more and more university to aim for this target. Okay, so these are the stars that we are trying to reward to the university. The maximum star is 6 stars. So if the assessment is more than 100 marks, you can get 6 stars, else 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, and then 1 star, and then 0. This is the yearly activity that all the university need to participate. So this is also one of the strategy to enhance the STEM activity in Malaysia, to enhance the research culture in the university and in the country as well. We can look at here, Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015-2023 for higher education, also to enhance and emphasize on research activity. So we emphasize on good publications, intellectual property, patents, and so on. And also we need to strengthen the academic career pathway and leadership development. Since we are looking at so many research activity, culture, so-called postgrad, we also need to see the employability, and we need to see their job market as well. So we need, this is a good strategy and a program and a new transformation to open up another research market for the graduates. You can look at here, in order to recognize the attributes to the talent and experience, we have this inspiring education program. That means trying to set up a program, a clear philosophy and theory for teaching and learning. And this is also to make the leadership in teaching and learning for STEM as well. Another thing is a accomplished researcher program. And we need to attract a major research grant and to cultivate the impact on community and society at large. And for the experienced practitioner, we need to show the evidence of national and international recognized of excellence through consultancy activities. The last one will be the institutional leaders. So this is to recognize the higher management level so that they can demonstrate the understanding of the key aspect of management in terms of rule and regulation. So these are the strategy to enhance the STEM, the image of research and to another milestone. And we have also this income generations for the university and research in STEM as well. So for this research, we need funding, we need support, and this is another income generation strategy in terms of endowment fund and backup. We have this academic research program for to enhance the commercialization's value of the research outcome. And we need to also enhance the financial management activity and investment for all this research in STEM. Another one, the endowment fund, the corporate alliance and business venture is also one of the branding and to enhance the image of research in STEM. So these are the various strategies and the potential source of income for a university, which is currently focusing on in the Malaysia University. You look at here in terms of data monitoring ring, the income generation, research grant, consultancy. These are the annual assessment rewards recognitions that we are trying to instill in the research community. And we have this audit appointment task force commercializations and program to enhance their quality. In terms of institutional, the strategy plan by the management, the recruitment of PACS investment is very important for the sustainability and for the STEM research as well. Okay, so these are the multiple scenarios. Memorandum of Understanding Agreement signing with foreign institutions based on research program, collaborations program, STEM initiative, and many conferences and seminars. So once we establish the research program, we have this knowledge transfer and awareness program for the community case study, and also establish the national award to generate a new branding for the research image in STEM. We have this sponsorship, joint author, send the staff to abroad, joint collaboration, funds, principal investigator, research funding, technology report, and other publications to enhance the output and to measure the quality of the image of the research effort. Okay, you look at this statistic, instead of Southeast Asia technology sector, it has a very strong start in terms of women's representation compared to other countries. So you look at the share of women in higher education in terms of Southeast Asia, global, India, China, US, Australia, and UK. You can see that overall, they are very similar, but in terms of technology, we can see that the Southeast Asia, India, and China, they are really in par with the whole progress. In terms of share of women in the workforce, you can see overall is more than 50% for China, Australia, UK. In terms of technology of women in the workforce, higher we can see is China, and then followed by Southeast Asia and US and Australia. So these are very interesting statistics for women in higher educations and women in workforce. Okay, these are the key influence of women in technology as each moment of truth. In terms of higher education in technology, you can see the ladies, they have more than 56% interest, and they are very varsity in major, and they align with the skill and capability. In terms of first job in technology, only 16% they will find their job in their same field and the same educations. In terms of compensation and benefit, only 9% is in the same field. For long-term career in technology, you can compare with compensation they receive, and you can look at the work-life balance, their career enhancement and opportunity. Slowly, you can see that they will increase their, you can see the increase in their compensation and benefit. In terms of influence, again, technology for ladies, 34% lack of personal interest, and then 17% find that very difficult to find their major in their field. And in terms of first job in technology, 90% found that there are lack of personal interest, and 80% feel that lack of career path. In terms of long-term career in technology, 17% they have the desire to pursue another career path, and 13% they have the family responsibility, and 11% think that lack of advancement in opportunity. So there should be availability and effectiveness of program. So about 33% of organizations don't have the gender diversity program, and then approximately 80% of women say that they have personal benefited. So 45% of organization mentioned that they don't have the recruitment program for women, but 90% of women say that they have the personally benefited. Also, 40% of organizations don't have the retention program for women, but 90% of women said they have the personally benefited. So these are the very interesting survey conducted. Okay, you look at here in terms of Malaysia group perspective. We try to compare with Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and average other country. You can look at the female retention rate need to be enhanced, and the ratio to male participation rate as well. You can see the graph here, and you can see enhanced in terms of Thailand and Vietnam. So thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for, it is really interesting. Then thank you very much. Interesting perspective. Thank you. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Sima. Then I will turn off my screen. Thank you. And Dr. Sima Singh is a professor of economics at Delhi Technological University and has headed the Department of Humanities between August 2016 to December 2017. Largely interested in issues related to gender, engineering education, and labor market, she has published and presented a number of papers and has also authored many books. She has also supervised scholars for PhD and postdoctoral fellowship and completed successfully several research projects responded by the national and international organizations. She is a board member of the International Network of Women Engineers and Scientists, INWES, and Joint Secretary of the Indian Society of Labor Economics. She is also a member of the editorial board and paper reviewer for many journals. Okay, Dr. Sima Singh, it is your turn to talk.
Thank you, Urvi. Thank you, and I'll speak on enhancing research culture in STEM tertiary education in India. And I'll borrow from one line from my previous speaker. In India, high representation of women in STEM education, and it was 45%. But if you remove engineering, so it will be almost 50%, even more than that. But and in engineering, that is 30%. Sorry, 33%. Just a minute. As the discussion is on inclusive research culture, so I have divided my presentation in 4 groups on the basis of women, people with disabilities, caste and religion-based inclusion, and R&D beyond scientists and PhD scholars, that is BTech, school student, extension work of university, startup, etc. So since beginning, planners and policymakers were aware that science and technology is very important for the development of the country. Science technology policy, Science Policy Resolution 58 was announced with the objective to cultivate research, science and scientific research in all its aspects. In 83, technology policy statement was announced to attain technological competence and self-reliance. But the tertiary education is supposed to perform 3 functions: knowledge creation, dissemination of knowledge, and extension of knowledge. However, the Indian STEM tertiary education was mainly performing second work, and even the Indian market was almost closed at that time. So there was less competition for the domestic producer, and and thus there was less demand also. But after opening up of the economy in 90s, market became very competitive. And just to sustain in the market, they are continuously improving technological input of their production process. Even the educational sector has also become very competitive. They have to comply with various national and international ranking system in which research has been given due importance due to or after using information technology in the production process. Many work started coming from Europe and America to India and other developing countries, and public universities were not able to produce sufficient number of engineers and scientists. So a Private University Act 92 was announced also to give a was not announced, made to give a legal framework for the establishment of private universities. Science and Technology Policy 2003 is during our 20 years framework. So women would be ensured full and equal participation. Mechanism would be strengthened for technology development, evaluation, absorption, and upgradation from this concept to realization. Development of technology that add value to India's indigenous resource would be supported. Then again, after only 10 years, a decade, 2013, science technology policy was announced, and innovation was brought into in the policy for the first time. Emphasis was given on science and technology led innovation as a driver for development. And that decade, the previous decade was declared as the decade of innovation. And the latest one is the Science, Technology and Innovation Policy 2020. And it has made a very important decision to tackle all forms of discrimination, exclusion, and inequalities in science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. Proportionate representation of women in selection and evaluation committee will be given, and consideration of experienced women and scientists for the leadership role will be done. Regular gender and social audit in academic and professional organization, also for candidates from rural and remote areas, marginalized communities, differently abled individuals, even the lesbians, gay, bisexual, transgender will be included to safeguard their rights. Many programs have been announced. First is, and I have listed some of them, and first of them is Kiran, that provide grants particularly to those women, those female researchers and technologists who had taken a break in career owing to household reasons. The second is Serve Power, that provides structural support in research to ensure equal access and weighted opportunity for Indian women scientists engaged in R&D activities through 2 components, that is Serve Power Fellowship and Serve Power Good Grants. Third is India-US Fellowship for Women in STEM, that encourages Indian women to undertake international collaborative research in female institutions in the USA for duration of 3 to 6 months. And then the last one is Gati, that is for the institution for only women and that is institution acquired to create a smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound policy for more time. Time-bound action plan for systematic and cultural transformation. The next one is Women Scientists A, that is for conducting research in basic and applied sciences. B is for science technology intervention for societal benefit. And C is for enabling women to become intellectual property right professionals. Then the program is for BioCare, the program of the Department of Biotechnology for encouraging women to undertake research in biotechnological area. Then Curie is the objective is to attract, retrain, and retain a promising girl student in science and technology domain. The government has taken many Rajiv Gandhi crèche scheme for thus taking care of the mother who has a small kid. Then the government of India has also taken issues related to career breaks for women, suggesting dual recruitment policy, new and flexible schemes to address the mobility issue of women scientists and engineers, daycare center, setting up office of equity and inclusion in offices where women scientists and researchers along with other women in other, it is applicable in other area also, so that they are working. And then engineering firms are also working towards inclusion. The technology firms like Cadence, Qualcomm, Intel, they have own platform for empowering tech women in India. Recently, Royal Bank Scotland launched a forum dubbed Women in Tech to address issues at various levels. Many employment and internship opportunities are announced only for women. A Chennai-based organization, Avatar, a diversity advocate and workplace inclusion firm, along with a New York-based organization, Working Mother, ranks the organization how best the company is for women in India. And the indicators they take is women representation, women promoted out of total women, maternity retention, women hired out of total hired people, and women in leadership role. But even in spite of all those efforts, the recent data shows that 17% women are working in the these women researchers are directly engaged in R&D activities. And if we see the PhD in STEM pursued done by female student, so it was in 2002-03, it was almost 38% in 38%, which has increased to 45% in 1920. And then when we see the awards, so the Indian Science Congress Association is the very old, established in 1914. And more than a century old, Prime Minister of India inaugurated that the annual conference of the organization. And since today, only 4 women were being president of that organization. The list is here. Then I tried to see the another award. That is Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Prize. That is total male, so far 52 male have been awarded, and out of them 19 were female. That is given to science and technology, but in 7 different segments, and the year of establishment is given here. So, but so far only medical science and physical science, 3 women scientists have been awarded that Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Prize. And in mathematical, engineering, chemical, and biological science, there only 1, and none has been awarded in the sector Earth, atmosphere, ocean, and planetary, which was late established late. in 1978. Why it is not moving? Just to show, I was, yes. And then female participation in extramural research funded by Central SMT Agency. So 2001, only 13%. After that, from 2005-6 onward, you can see the share is more or less same with little variations here and there, means left or right, but it has not increased drastically. And then I have reviewed 2 papers also. So the first paper, they have reviewed, they have written paper on the basis of analysis of publication data in the field of physics and astronomy during year 2011-15. The paper concludes women scientists prefer to conduct their research in collaboration, not as individual. Other significant finding is that women authors signed as corresponding author in more papers as compared to first and both. And research article, 1/4 of the papers have been written by the women scientists. And the second paper, they have analyzed faculty members in IIT, which is a premier engineering institutions of India, and reputed non-IIT institution and well-known world institutions. Authors have been able to show that only 5 to 10% of STEM faculty members are female in these institutions, and the leaky pipeline effect as well as the glass ceiling may be responsible for such a low rate of participation. I have already done. What is happening? Oh, sorry. But not only the government and the tech firms are promoting women, but the other stakeholders are also involved. And Mars orbiter was sent to Mars in 2013 by India, and in which female scientists played a very important role. And a Bollywood film, Mission Mangal, was made in 2019. So it will encourage or inspire many girls to join R&D sector. The other one is the Olay is a fashion brand, and that gives that has started working for the filling hashtag #STEM fill the gap. And they are giving fellowship also in collaboration with a school edutech platform lead. The other advertisement is Google asked me, and one girl is asking her uncle to give her a telescope in spite of a doll in her birthday. And now I'll discuss persons with disabilities. So India is a signatory to the Declaration of Full Participation and Equity of People with Disabilities, to the Vivek Millennium Framework for Action towards the inclusive, barrier-free and right-based society. And persons with disability, it has 3 acts has also been announced, or have also passed by the Parliament. And that first one is person with disabilities. Equal opportunity, protection of right and full participation in education and employment. The second one is National Trust for Welfare of Person with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardedness and Multiple Disability Act 1999, and which to ensure enabling environment to ensure enabling environment so that they can live as independently as possible. And then the third one is Rehabilitation Council of India Act 92, which was made to develop appropriate number of manpower for providing rehabilitation services.
Dr. Seema, you have right now more 5 minutes.
Okay. So the scheme was started. A scheme has also been announced for technological and vocational education, and it was announced in 1999 to 2000. And then the student can join any college in engineering or science STEM college or university, and Ministry of Education ranks an institution, and some marks is given or some points is given for ranking also for the institution which has made infrastructure for students with disabilities. And then the caste and region based inclusion. So Article 31 of Indian Constitution provides minorities right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. In Delhi, for Muslims, there is Jamia Millia Islamia and Jamia Hamdard. And for Sikhs, there is Guru Tegh Bahadur Institute of Technology, where the people of that religion predominantly, some see it is open for all, but they join if they wish to. And then the central government also reserves seats of, and there are some castes which have been in past, they have been suppressed. So just to undo the wrong, the government provides some reservation in employment and education. And there are university for women also. And there are fellowship also, which is given to people of disability, women, ST, OBC, and then student of means minority student, and then the R&D beyond PhD and research scholar, like for school Vigyan Jyoti, there for women studying in 9 to 12th class, and they are given some fund to participate in camps organized by IITs and NITs. Then Atmanirbhar Bharat give funds for R&D to student of engineering college. And then the government of India has taken loan from the World Bank, that is called TQ. And then apart from many other developing other infrastructure from that TQ fund, students are given fund for going attending any competition and showing their innovation or presenting paper also. And then the Smart Hackathon is organized. Student research competition are also organized, and there's a new helpline which helps women researcher or any women to know programs of Ministry of Science and Technology. And then there are some startup and university student extension program also, which do some provide scientific gadgets to so that the people with disability can participate and know about the STEM area, some of the that inclusive STEM. And then there is IIT Delhi initiative of 3D printing to produce technical diagram that are affordable, and that is financed by Electronics and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. And then this Xavier College of Mumbai also provides STEM text, and then that is written in Braille for the visually challenged candidates, and then provide training also to have the inclusive mindset. And then the Bangalore-based STEM, Bangalore-based startup also, which creates infrastructure. So last point, so importance of inclusive research has been realized by all stakeholders, and they are contributing their what they can do. But at present, there are almost 80% of students are undergraduate students, and they have a lot of caliber. Not all, but almost 15 to 20% are extraordinarily brilliant. So the programs, more programs may be made for them so that they can contribute in research and development also through the funding. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Shema, for this very useful information. Thank you very much. And Now our final speaker is Ms. Riya Kimura. Then let me share for introduction. Riya Kimura is a woman engineer with only 1.7% in Japan, and also works in rural environment planning and architectural design and landscaping and park design. She has been engineer for over 40 years. Since 2019, she has taught design as a lecturer at the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology. She has written several technical books. And now she was president of the GSPAW from 2012 to 2018. She is currently the president of the Japan Network of Women Engineers and Scientists since 2018. Okay, Mr. Riya Kimura, it is your time to talk. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, my profile, Dr. Profile. And okay, just a moment. Can you see my presentation?
It is wrong screen. Can you show us the correct screen?
Okay. Okay. And just a moment. Just a moment. Change. So, just a moment. Can I show?
No, it looks good.
Now you can
Yeah, it is
see
good.
my. Now good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is correct. Yeah, you can continue. Thank you.
Okay. But you can see my PPT, but memo now is a good. Okay.
Good. It is good. It looks good.
Good. Okay. All people can my PPT. Okay.
Yes.
Can I start it? Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Now let me make an announcement in Japan. The main theme is just a moment. I use a laser point. Main theme has Japanese women STEM society involved. Sub theme is overcoming the wall of unconscious bias. The presenter will be Riya Kimura, the representative of the network of Japanese women engineer and scientists. Let's go start it. First, 20 years of social change in Japan. Let's take a look at the Japan international position. As you know, GDP has been the third largest in the world for 20 years. But what is bad? Gender gap ranks is very low. 2006, the world rank of GGI was 80th. 2021, the more dropped to 121st. What more, the rank is falling year by year. Next is the figure on the right. This is GGI in each field: health, politics, education, economy. Red line is Japan. Health and education near the perfect, but economy is 0.55. Politics is, where is politics? Here, 0.06. It is triangle, which is an unusual bias. This triangle will remain unchanged in 2020. Why? There is a special reason. Next, Japan population distribution. Next is a domestic situation. This is Japan population distribution map. The left side is a 2000 map. The ideal shapes is a pyramid. Pyramid is good, but by 2000 it has already diamond shapes. It shows that the birth rate is declining and the population is aging, but there are still enough workers with 68% working. This green area is working generation, 68% working area, and 70% is elderly. The right side is a forecast for 2015 map. The population will have more elderly people. And look this red circle. This is second baby boom, but by 2015 they will be 80 years old. The working generation has developed 53%. In other words, about half of the people supported by half of the people. The focus here is on the decline in the labor force. Japan is entering an era in which women must also work in Japan. Next, STEM enrollment rate of female students. Next, we will focus on the female college student in STEM. In OECD countries, Japan was well below the average and 36 comparable companies. Let's see how the proportion of STEM female college students changes. The gray line is agriculture, 41% to 45%. Science is a green, not a blue line. Blue line is 26 to 28. Engineering is green line, just 12% to 15%. As you can see, STEM line was increased slightly, but the rate of increase is still very low. In GDP, health and education field have the perfect score. But why this STEM word increase? It's very strange. Next, how has the working situation changed in 20 years? Next is actual situation of Japanese countries. On the left graph, it is a percentage of women engineer executives. The green line is percentage of companies without women executives. In 2020, 2012, about 80% companies had no woman executives. In other words, women executives accounted in only 20% here. In other words, women executives only 20%. Here, the number of female is increasing rapidly according. It is government topics. However, it doesn't continue after that, like the flat line. At first, the government set the female executive at 30%, but it is very impossible. So government changes their goal 20% at 2025. But I don't think we can reach our goal in only 3 years. We have only 3 years. The light graph, it is reason for not continuing after that. Notable here, few women were in the executive generation of company. There are no senior, so the next one cannot continue. And especially here, women who don't wish the management. I think this is the true actual situation of Japanese women. The reality and measure and different. And next. Next is 20 years of measures and social movement. In the way Japanese social model very effort. I will briefly summarize the characteristic of the age 2000. Catchphrases were employment of women, support strengthening, effort for women's advancement, support, and effort for women's advancement. Unfortunately, the catchphrase alone didn't work. Next, 2010, government set specific numbers and target values. For example, they took positive measures such as setting expansion and nursery school and extending maternity leave and participating the man. However, reform does not proceed as expected. Why is reform not progressing? Is there any case? 2020, we realize the underlying reason why we cannot grow. 2022, this is a real barrier, unconscious bias. Have you heard this word? It is unconscious prejudice or belief. Unconscious bias is attracting a lot of attention in Japan right now. Isn't this the reason why women don't inspire even if they do their best? What is unconscious bias? I have a question. What would you say if you found a lost child? I will probably ask, when your mom go? Where your mom go? This is the unconscious bias. In other words, the belief that child care is mother's work. Having unconscious bias is not a problem in itself. It is indispensable for quick thinking, intuitive thinking that process a large amount of information quickly. Psychologists said there is a many types of unconscious bias. For example, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias that is girls are not good at science and mathematics. Stereotype bias by gender, school, blood type, occupation, etc. It's a lot of Japanese people. Men cannot do housework and others. We call them unconscious bias. Next. Next is normalcy bias. Well, why did the unconscious bias occur in the first place? It seems that the old division of laws has its historical roots. I think that Japan has been a male society, male man society for a long time. What unconscious bias are needed for improvement? First, get to know the role model. No, there are many active women in the world. Next is cultivating independence. Women of our generation grew up being told by our mother that a woman's life is decided by her husband. Nowadays, not often said. Finally, foster self-awareness. Do you like physics? Even though you are a woman, it's strange. I want to say that your question is strange and remains normalcy bias. I can do it. Don't be afraid afraid of change. Don't be fooled by all the common sense. Go my way. And next. Our effort to correct unconscious bias. Here's quickly introduction for our efforts to correct those unconscious bias. We will be a role model and introduce employment. This is a role model booklet we created. Bias type of profession and the women who are active, they are listed. This is a lecture at a high school. I'm here. And this is an event for going to STEM. This is DVD that summarizes the occupation and personal lives of women who are active in STEM. First of all, I think it is important for Japanese female students to know the role model first. By the way, there is almost no funding from the Japanese government. At the end, finally, I would like to introduce the impression of the high school girl who listened our lectures. Here is a Japanese. I did it. Today's lecture was very helpful because I want to go to science or engineering. I learned that I had little knowledge to work related to STEM world. So I was surprised that there are so many different professions. I felt that the world would expand. Why did I have the question that when a woman goes to science, she may not be able to get married? Why did I have the image that Science is a man's world. Am I prejudiced? I was very interested because a female engineer talked to me. I decided to go to STEM world. That's all. I think the impressions of this female student represent the actual situation of unconscious bias in Japan, rather than my boring announcement. That's how I finish my presentation. Thank you for your attention. It's finished, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Riya Kimura.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your presentation is also very nice. Thank you. And all of our speakers for much informative and insightful presentations. Thank you again. Now I would like to turn now to any questions you may have of the speakers. Please raise your Zoom and we will call on people in the order in which your hand is raised. And there is one question for Dr. Wei Young. Yeah, and that question is that, do you feel that this Malaysia research assignment needs to incorporate criterion for inclusive culture, especially for women scientists' involvement?
Okay, thank you. So the question is, do you feel that Myra needs to be incorporated, to incorporate criterion for inclusive culture, especially for women scientists' involvement? So just now while listening to other speaker, I tried to think of this. Yeah, I agree, this is very important, but I also try to think of what sort of criteria we need to include and what sort of measurement. I browse through the internet, the Google, there are various criteria. I believe this is a very good suggestions. I would always want to feedback to the Ministry of Higher Education. So far, what we are trying to measure is only by age. So 30 years, 30 to 50 and 50 years above. So this we try to measure the number of different aging group. And so for this criteria on inclusive culture, definitely would be a very meaningful measurement for the research community, not only for Malaysia, I think for the global world as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. There is another question from Dr. Singh. It is very impressive that India has so many good programs. If you were to choose one or two programs out of all that you think most effective in promoting and encouraging female students, which one would it be and why?
Thank you for the question. Very interesting question. Actually, the program you can divide at 2-3 stages. One is before joining engineering college or STEM career. So it is up to for the student up to class 12. So one for the girls who from the rural area or from the lower segment of the society who may not be aware. So to inspire them to join. And then, so I gave one example where of the DST, which gives money to attend program, because IIT and NIT, all the cream institutions of India, they organize program for school-going student to just to inform the students about the STEM career, mainly engineering career, and then to inspire them. So at that level, for rural or lower segment girls from the lower segment, for the upper segment girls, it may be the school in India, the social status of engineer is very high. So if the student is means because joining engineering, you need to be very good in mathematics and science. So if the student is so, she will automatically like to join. And then for college, there are reservation in university for one child also, because as you may be aware, we are a very populous country, and India 1 or 2 child norms is being implemented nowadays, and then there is preference for male child also. Just to compensate all those things, only girl child. Once in my college, my university also, one seat is reserved in all branches of engineering for only girl child of the family, and that is same for the Chandigarh Punjab Agriculture, Punjab College University, Chandigarh also, and it may be I know about 2 institutions, but it may be other institutions. And then in IIT also there is 20% reservation for women. So it is for all range of student, all range of people on the basis of income through which they can join. So it's and then after joining means and then there are states also which has reserved seats for women student. Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, even Bihar recently had reserved seats for 33% students, girl students. So there's so much opportunity available, and it depends. It may vary from girl to girl where she will like to go, and she would like to opt. I think I answered your question. If you have any other additional question, then.
Thank you very much, the Dr. Seema Singh. And also there is another question for Mr. Riya Kimura. Is marriage considered important for the MZ generation in Japan? And do they feel they need to choose between marriage and work, especially in STEM?
Yeah.
Okay, we are typing and showing that question in the display, right? And yeah.
Okay. As I said in my presentation, my mother told me that a woman's happiness is married. I grew up on the other hand, my father was a civil engineer. My father's work was far more appealing than my mother's was. That's why I chose to be an engineer. So I had a very good role model. In this way, the existence of a role model will determine the future of young people. But my mother said, "You are stupid. You should have chosen a rich and comfortable life like me." I cannot agree. That's my answer. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I just add, my question was actually
Sure.
for the millennial, the younger generation. So the generation who are now in the 20s or, in the school, do they have the same problem as you have? Is this the same for the millennials? Was my question. For the young, for the students, the college students, the high school students now, do they feel the same way that you have when you were their age? Is this still going on in Japan?
For me, okay. It is very changed, and young husband, young people share their working and houseworking. My son and daughter is half and half housekeeping, and my generation is very dark generation. But nowadays, many young people change their world. So I hope the Japanese young girls and of course young boys change good situation, and they block unconscious bias. I think so. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And yes, and also there is another question from audience that to Dr. Shima Singh.
Yes.
How the research culture has been changed or influenced by COVID-19? Is there any statistics in this regard?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, yes, for India, I can say it has done, but I am sure it has, and there is study also which shows that more paper has been submitted for publication in journals, because people who are doing research or in academics, so they are like you can say creamy layer of the society. So they were having, they were not having problem of they don't lose their job or some that kind of thing. So they were like comfortable in their zone, and then they have the internet facility. So they worked hard, and then I can say from my university perspective and my country perspective and whatever I've read about the whole world. So it has done. And then after your question, I saw in the chat box, then I was searching also because I'm working in this area and I have some statistics, but I could not find. So yes, certainly. And then I have done a research also on engineering manpower, how they have coped with the COVID-19. And I have seen some research done by other organization also. So in the West, women engineers and scientists, some of the studies says that they were having problem in suffering with the dual responsibility of doing household work and then teaching and then doing research. But from India perspective, I can say that many and in the beginning, first half of the lockdown, when you were not having the help also in the household. So during that time also, because organization they help their staff well, and many of them they were allowed to work from home. So that was saving their time for commuting. And in the second half, it was partial lockdown. So the domestic help was available, and many, because it is from the higher level of society, so many of them are having 24-hour help. So, and then family also, because I know in my research, I got by one of the respondents, she is retired professor of university, and her daughter and son-in-law was coming every day to work in the house, so that she can take care of their kids. And the daughter and her husband was working for both of them engineer, and they are working for different firms. So the family help, and then the higher level of status in the society, and income level also, so they can afford 24-hour help. So all those things, infrastructure has helped them, and they have been able to work. But yes, some limitation for the people who are having young kids, or because I know one of my respondent of my study having 2 school-going kids. So both husband and wife were sitting with one child each, because in the internet you have to, one of the parent has to be with the kid during the class also. So that was an issue, and then, but it was adjusted because all the organization helped, and then it was managed well. Yeah. I think I have given your answer, and I can share. I know you, so I can share my data if, whenever I get the able to find the data. I'll share with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shema. Thank you. It is very interesting. Now there is another questions from Professor Wei E. Leong. And I put here the STEM development and the women involvement is very positive and improving year by year in your country. You may have many good policy and support from government. How many percentage of state budget is allocated for research?
Thank you very much for your question. In terms of how many percent of state budget is allocated for research, I have the data in front of me. In year 2019, research and development expenditure as a share of GDP for Malaysia was 1%. Research and development expenditure as a share of GDP of Malaysia increased from 0.2% in 1996 to 1% in year 2019, growing at an average annual rate of 14.35%. In terms of US dollars, federal funding for research and development grew from 3.5 billion in year 1955 to 138.9 billion in year 2019, a compound annual growth rate of 5.9%. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Well, if there is right now and there is no additional questions, then that's why I would like to thank all of the participants in today's webinar for this informative and thought-provoking discussions. And to the speakers, thank you for sharing your experience with us. There is a lot that we can learn from your experience. Thank you very much.
You can have the group photo if you want.
Yes, we will do, right? Then, yeah, right now, then, yeah, we will do in the group photo after some time. And if you would like a recording of this webinar, you can find it on YouTube and Facebook by typing INWES Global. Not only will you see our webinar recording, the webinar on this topic from other regions are posted there is as well. We suggest put this information up on this screen for them so they can take a picture or a screen cap, right? Yeah, then for your information, we are going to be organizing a follow-up webinars as part of this project. Stay tuned for more information on that. Your name will be added to the mailing list to receive up-to-date information. Yeah, as it becomes available. Yeah, then we would like to express our deepest appreciations to all of the three speakers and the project team of University of Warwick and INWES President of INWES and INWES Conference and IT and communication teams at administrative support. The webinar is almost ending. That's why now we have in there one request from speakers and audience. We want to take group photo with you, all speakers and all audience. Please open your camera.
Can you remove the presentation?
Okay, yeah, we will do.
Oh, okay.
Please open your camera. Thank you very much. We are all done. Thank you. It is really nice time to meet you. We are
Thank
all
you.
here. Thank you. Bye. In this time,
Bye.
also we would like to invite you
Thank you.
to attend
Bye-bye.
another conference. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Great
Bye
job.
bye.
Bye. Thank
Yes,
you.
great job.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. It was very great job. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Very well
Good
done.
information. Yes.
Thank
Very
you.
helpful.
Thank you.
You did very well, Aruna. It went very well. Thank you so much. Wonderful. I think we can.
Okay. Is it okay?
Very good. Very good. It went very
Thank you.
well. You did great job. It
Thank
was
you.
very well done. Very good.
Thank
So
you.
now you're an expert.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bold, for your technical support. We look forward to your help again for the next webinar. I think we can stop recording and we can stop